Alright, let's try this again. So, oh my god. What is happening to my mouse? Please stop doing that. Thank you. Okay. So, welcome. I'm gonna show you how to cast an AOE explosion spell that targets every entity in a radius around you without destroying any blocks. I'd like to give a big shout out to this inspiration, for my inspiration, to KirinDave on YouTube. He has a series of fantastic tutorials about hexcasting that I highly recommend you go watch, especially the one about Thoth's Gambit. That shit is confusing. But anyway, so he also is the inspiration for the spell we're going to make. The spell he made, you know, explodes a target entity without causing any damage to the environment. The entity that you're looking at. And I figured, why limit yourself to the entity that you're looking at when we can do it on everybody in a big radius around us, right? So I'm going to write out the spell very carefully, and I'll explain it step by step. Let me clear out the grid. I'm also going to hold the scrying lens in my offhand just to give me a slightly bigger grid. The way I like to work is just in one big chunk. Definitely, you should not do it this way. What you should be doing is using like a bunch of different focuses to save parts of your spells in these, and then combine these spells later. But I'm doing it this way because it's easier to show, I suppose. It doesn't require as many steps. So let's start. If I, let me see, put a cow in a hole, right? We need to be able to detect the entities in a radius around us. So if we look at the Hex notebook, and we go to entities, you'll see a bunch of different ways we can find entities. And the one I'm looking for is find non-items. Basically, that'll be monsters, animals, players, anything that isn't literally like a dropped item on the ground. We want to cause an explosion on that. So, how do we do that? Well, it takes a vector, which is a position. That's where we want the radius, like the center of the circle, and then a number, which is the radius of the circle. And then that gives you a list of all the entities near there. So, this is the symbol for me, and then this is the symbol for the position of that entity, the entity at the top of the stack. There it is. That's where I'm standing. You can even see 8, 70, 112, close enough. Then we need to put in some kind of radius. So I want every guy in a 5-block radius. And then we just have to draw the thing that finds all the entities, non-item entities, within a 5-block radius of us. Boom! Me and the cow. Now, of course, you probably don't want to, you know, cause an explosion on yourself. It won't damage you, but it's another explosion that costs media. So let's get rid of that. What we can do is use, it's a list manipulation thing, and it's called Exciser's Distillation. It takes a list, a number, and then removes that element of the list. Very simple. So, in computer science, a list starts from 0. So, my username is 0, and then the cow is 1. So I want to remove the 0th element of the list. So we just draw 0 like this, and then we draw this symbol to remove myself from the list. Perfect. Now to cause an explosion, you'll notice explosion takes a vector and not an entity. So you can't cause an entity to explode, you cause a space to explode, basically. So what we need to do is convert this list of entities that we have. Right now there's only one guy, but theoretically there would be multiple. And we need to convert it into all of their positions. So what we're going to do is we're going to do that using Thoth's Gambit. Thoth's Gambit is basically a loop. It's down here in meta evaluation. It takes a list of patterns and a list and does the first list on each element of the second list. Very simple. So what we want to do is create a list of patterns, and we can do that by doing this introspection. That will escape all of the characters between it and the retrospection, you know, in the order that you draw them. I'm drawing them left to right, but you could be drawing these anywhere. So what we want to do is take for each entity in the list, we want to get its actual position. And we can do that with this same little triangle that we did up here. And that's all we want to do. So we just put this. Thoth's Gambit will attempt to take, let me see. It's the list of patterns, then the list, so it needs to be in reverse order here. So we can reverse it using this little symbol. This is like Jester's Gambit or something. I should probably be like looking up these names before I give you, you know, incorrect information. Yes, it's Jester's Gambit, and it swaps the position of any two things. So now instead of the pattern we drew and cow, it's cow and then the pattern. And then we just want to run Thoth's Gambit on this. Of course, we only have one entity here, but if we had more, this would run on each thing, and we would get coordinates for each entity in that list. Very cool. Now we want to cause an explosion on each of those creatures. But not just that, we want to prevent damage to the environment. What if, you know, there's some loot around or something that we don't want to blow up? So that happens in 5 steps. And I think what I'll do is I will start... we can just... Yeah, I'll just start casting the real spell. So when you actually want to make it into a trinket, or put it in a focus, the focus takes specifically a list of iotas, like spells and stuff, right? So that entire thing that we drew earlier needs to be a list of patterns. So we can put it in a introspection like this. We'll say our position, like so, and then we put in a number. And instead of a, you know, we'll do a 20 block radius, because why not? Then we have to find all of the entities that match the thing we want, so non-item entities in that radius, and we want to remove ourselves from the list, like so. Then we want to get the position of each guy in the list, so we do our thing like this, and we put the Jester's Gambit and the Thoth's Gambit inside of this pattern, right? Now let's talk about the next step. The next step is we would like to cast there's 5 things that need to happen here. We need to break the block they're standing in, place water there, cause an explosion, conjure a block, and then break the conjured block. That's 5 separate things that need to happen. And the reason we're not just placing water, why are we breaking a block where the entity is? Well, if they're standing inside of a block, like a, you know, some grass, or maybe they're literally stuck in a wall, I have no idea, it can't place water there. So the explosion will actually damage things. We don't want that, so what we're going to do is just break the block in that position first. So that's 5 different things we need to do. But if you look at, if you read Thoth's Gambit real quick, let's read how it works. It creates a new stack with everything on the current stack, plus the element, and then draws all the patterns and saves the remaining iotas. If we do this, what we'll get is basically the new stack will just contain the one entity that we're currently working with, right? You know, the one entity we're currently working with, that would be this cow. But each of these different spells requires a vector. If I casted, like for example, break the block, you know, if we want to run this on every guy, and I just said break the block like this, what would happen is the cow's position is on the stack, and then it is consumed by this break block, and now there's nothing on the stack. So if I tried to cast, you know, create water like this, that would give me an error because it expects something to be there, and it's not. So what we need to do first is duplicate the cow's position on multiple times. In fact, it needs to be exactly how many steps we're going to take, and that's 5. Break a block, place water, explode, conjure a block, break conjured block. 5 different things. So I'll show you how to do that. First, let me just really quickly redraw our base spell. So again, my position, the radius that we want to check for entities, the kind of entities we want to check. There you go. And then we need to remove ourself from the list of targets, like so. And then we need to get the position of every target, like this. Ooh, not like that, like that. So get the position of every target, and then this is just swapping the elements so they're in the correct order that Thoth's Gambit can be run on that. So every guy in the list, and then we get every guy into a list, get all of their positions, and then, so we need to duplicate that position 5 times, because we want to do 5 different things on that spot, right? And the way we do that is with, what is it called? It also starts with a G. It's a stack manipulation thing as well. Gemini's Gambit. Takes a number and, you know, some stuff at the top of the stack and duplicates it a whole bunch of times. So we want to do 5 different things. So let's draw the number 5 like this, and then draw Gemini's Gambit, which is like counterclockwise, 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 like this. Cool. So now we have 5, the position of the cow 5 times on the list, so we can do 5 different things. Let's break the block that he's standing in. Let's generate some water at that spot so that the explosion can't hurt anybody. Let's cause an explosion of power 10, so you need to give it a power. And 10 is the maximum, so I think this is 10. And then explosion. Then we need to conjure the block, which looks like this. It's a trapezoid with a thing missing. And then we need to break that block again. Whoops. Whoops, like this. And that's what we want to do on each guy. And then we need to make it run on each guy. So we do that by reversing the order of the lists and then doing another Thoth's Gambit. And that should be the entire spell. Now we need to save this somewhere. So let's get the scrying lens out of our hand, put the focus in our hand, and you'll notice that it's really zoomed in because the scrying lens gave us a bigger grid. It's fine, we have space down here. So write my spell to the focus, like that. And the reason that usually the focus would like change in your hand, but like this is the second take, so it already had that spell loaded. Anyway, so now what we can do is read from the focus, like so, and maybe I should look at this guy while I do this. Read from the focus and cast it using Hermes' Gambit, like this. And that should cause every viable, non-dropped on the ground entity. In fact, yoink, there we go. Let's cast the spell now. So you'll see, the cow had an explosion generated on him, and it didn't explode anything else. And it didn't blow up any items. Perfect. That's exactly what we wanted. So let's put it in a trinket, why don't we? So what we'll do is we'll take this charged amethyst, throw it on the ground. Look at its hitbox. Its hitbox is like kind of below where it actually is. It's down here. So we can look, clear our grid, and then make this into a thing. So the first thing it takes is an entity that we're looking at. So let's get, what is it? Let's get our position, then the direction we're facing, and then try to get that guy as an entity. So it's charged amethyst. Then we need to read the spell out of our thing. And let me just check the book to make sure I have it right, because I literally get this wrong every single time. We want to put it in a casting item. Catalog the patterns, yeah. Takes an entity and a list of patterns, so this should be fine. So let's cast that. So it looks like this. 1, 2, 3, and then you draw a small hexagon clockwise. You go 1, you draw a big hexagon clockwise. You draw like this. Oh shit, you know? It occurs to me, I need to hold the trinket, the artifact I'm gonna put it in my hand. So let's try that again, right? Yoink, 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 yoink. Get entity, there's the dude. Read the thing out of our focus like that. Put the focus in our other hand. Hold on to the artifact, and then cast the thing. So it's 1, 2, 3, small hexagon, 1 over, big hexagon around the whole thing, then a trapezoid, 2 spiky things, a trapezoid, 2 spiky things, a trapezoid. Done. So now, if I just spawn like a bunch of cows or something, even if I walk far away, if I just click this trinket, it causes all of them to explode, and it does no damage to the surrounding. So that's how it works. Pretty cool. This does cost like an insane amount of media. If I were to like, you know, spawn a bunch of guys like this, and you know, it scales the more guys there are, obviously. So if I was to do that, then go into survival and try to cast this, you'll notice it instantly drained all 6.4 million media. And if I tried to cast this again on more dudes, it would start taking my health. I think that's how it's supposed to work. Okay, I figured out why I wasn't dying instantly. And it was because I was holding the media cube, which I had previously used to just unlock all of the recipes in the book. So if I go into survival now, you'll see. Okay, it's not trying to blow me up, but you can see over here where I figured it out and it failed. I only had enough mana or media to cast the part that would summon water, and I died right after that trying to cast the explosion. Legit, right here. And it'll happen again. I'll show you. These sparks from Botania count as entities, so like, there you go. My mind was subsumed into energy. So the last thing I wanted to show you is the fact, it's just a little Easter egg. So you'll notice I have 0 essence in my file, and this is just a artifact that casts directly from my spellbook, which is in my offhand, and I've set it to that spell that I just made. I've named it S's Revenge. You can name it whatever you want, I don't care. But you'll notice I have no mana, no media anywhere. So if I cast this, theoretically, I should die. Whoops, wasn't carrying it in my offhand. If I cast this, I should die, but it doesn't kill me. And I'll tell you the reason. It's a mod interaction. If you're wearing this Mekasuit, apparently it protects your brain from being consumed by the, you know, it prevents you from sacrificing your mind to the media. So that's cool. I don't know if this is a bug or something, but until someone fixes it and it accidentally kills me, I will keep doing this for infinite casting. It doesn't require any amethyst. I have literally none on me. Like, you know, pretty cool. I'm sure it costs energy because it will prevent damage being done to you, but at this point in the game with like fully upgraded Mekasuit, it literally is inconsequential, so you can cast your heart's desire. And that's it. Thank you for watching.